everyone. This is Glenda Dawson and LD from Glenda's Dragon's Den here on the Conscious Awakening Network. Thank you for being here with us and for following us. Also, sending any emails and comments and feedback. We appreciate that. Tonight, we have a wonderful, wonderful guest, a creative, very passionate, and deeply connected Monica Ramirez, also known as the Warrior of Love. Hi, Monica. How are you today?
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me, guys. I really appreciate it. It's an honor for me
Thank you
to
for
be.
showing up. Not everybody shows up that we invite, just so you know.
I know. My podcast. That's why I start recording it.
Good idea.
So you just mentioned your podcast. What podcast and when is it on?
Oh, it's Soul Talk, and you can. It is in YouTube and also in Captivate. It is in iTunes and in different platforms. And it is basically I like to have interesting conversations like you guys.
Good, good. So this is where you could find it, guys, everyone. So
I gotta know, you're a warrior of love. What's your choice of weaponry?
Well, it is love. It's actually that's my weaponry.
That's the best weapon.
Yes,
Kill
it's
them
my.
with kindness.
mhm, mhm. So
No, I'm a big fan of that.
yeah. So
Yeah, my.
um,
Mhm.
go ahead. Tell us about you.
My guides are the ones that gave me that name about 4 years ago, Warrior of Love. One day they present themselves with that name, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what do I do with this? It's a huge name." And they tell me, "Okay, you need to learn how to put it on and wear it, and use it so like that until you actually master it, then you can let it go or not." But it's been a process of learning and understanding my spiritual name, Warrior of Love.
Well, I think it's a great name because to me, love is the most powerful energy in the universe.
Mhm.
I totally agree. That's what is the basis of the transformation of every single human being is. It is to love ourselves, to love everything around us. And many people have the concept if they love something else, they're not necessarily to love themselves.
Mm.
But how they're going to even know they love someone else if they don't know how to love themselves? That's where everything starts.
Mhm.
Well, when I was coaching in that vein, people were telling me what they wanted in a partner, and I'm like, so what are you bringing to the party?
Actually, I have a very good tip because I have received that question many times. People tell me, okay, do the list of putting everything that you want in of a mate actually works? Like, yes, it do, but you have to be a match for that.
Mhm.
So if you want, I don't know, hard worker, spiritual entrepreneur, husband, like in my case, well, you have to be also that person for the person that you're asking for.
Mm.
It depends. It will work, but you have to be a match for that.
So you're a proponent of the law of attraction, I can presume from that?
Yes, I
You have to
believe.
attract what you're looking for.
Yes, whatever you're feeling and thinking, you're gonna attract. The problem is the law of attraction doesn't work for everybody. It's like, let's say I wanna be a millionaire, but I don't feel that I deserve it or I worth it. I'm not gonna attract it. It doesn't matter how many affirmations you do a day. It is not gonna work if you don't feel you deserve it.
So
You also have to be clear what currency, because $1,000,000 yen isn't $1,000,000, isn't €1,000,000. So millionaire is fine, but you got to really understand what you're, you know.
Oh no.
valuation is.
Hey, I live in Texas, not in New York. Over here, $1 million, $1 million.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But yeah, so you like to attract, and you set out to attract what you believe is your mate, is your counterpart,
Yes.
for example. And you were talking about self-love. Now, how do you help people with that?
Well, I work with them first of all. It is important. I work with them to shift in the beliefs. I'm a neurolinguistic programmer and also I am a hypnotherapist and of course channeler. And all human beings we being programmed not to believe in ourselves or not even deserve love. And those traumas comes from our childhood. Many times we were not listened or our and it is this is I'm not trying to guilt our parents or grandparents about this. Is they don't knew better too. They
Mhm,
were also programmed themselves, starting from the beginning
mhm,
or really ancestry. So they did not knew better that actually to be like they have the program or the belief that the kids should be seen but not heard.
mhm,
So that means that they were not going to give us enough attention, enough love, enough what we really need to grow a healthy human being. So we attract that when we are getting older. We continue attracting that what we feel, we the trauma that we have from our childhood. So that's where I start with my clients because there's many beliefs that they make us think that we're not worth it, that why we even gonna love ourselves, that the ego is actually diabolic or something bad, that's where it comes from all the religions in the world, because that's what it makes us believe that not enough in ourselves or that we deserve to be even channelers directly, because everybody, I believe that everybody channels, but they do it unconsciously in reality because the majority of the human beings they make us believe that how we're going to be talking to God directly or to channel angels or talking to light beings
mhm,
when everybody do it. I am an artist. I've been doing it for 37 years. And where do you think the creativity comes from? From every single artist in the world. It just don't appear like that. It's
mhm,
inspirations that they're giving it to us from some place, or it can be we can be channeling different entities.
mhm. Yes.
So, if I understand you correctly, that one of the first things you work on is a shift from victim energy.
Yes, that's what it can heal us, or it can actually destroy us, because that victim energy it is the one that is gonna get us stuck. I used to be sick with lupus, RA, and fibromyalgia, and of course that comes with depression. And I suffered from that for 15 years. I went with different doctors, different medications, and different things. That's why I wear glasses, thanks to Lyrica, one of the medications that they gave me. And the thing in that time, I was needing to have love and compassion in my life. I did not have it from my family or my ex-husband that time used to beat me.
Mm,
So I was needing to have compassion in one way or the other. I wake up some compassion from friends, whoever, because that's what I was needing. So I create myself a sickness that it was gonna destroy me because I did not have the guts actually to shot me, to grab a gun and actually shoot me. So I created lupus. That is an autoimmune system that is basically it is protecting you, but in reality is attacking your main organs.
mhm,
And it's very, very painful and it's hard to get up from bed. And the depressions are horrible, obviously. And to change that and shift that, because at the end I was already with epilepsy. And it was, and my of course, I divorced that marriage from that marriage, and I got married with another one because I did not feel that I deserved it, that to be happy and love and so forth. So I married a bipolar one. So I have a complete understanding of how much I did not have love in myself. And
So I just want to be clear, we don't advocate those who have the guts uh, to shoot themselves. That is a viable alternative, uh, because there are better choices that, we're here for a reason. And because you didn't have the guts, you were able to find a way out and
I was
work through it.
in that time I was not aware
Right.
of how powerful I was. I was playing the victim role.
Mhm.
So what was the ultimatum for my victimhood? Try to be more depressed and try to disappear because it feels shame and blame and feeling guilt. And of course, the guilt not only for everybody, it's also for yourself. In the moment you start forgiving yourself for all the choices that you have made in the past, because at the end I chose all my husbands, and then I chose all my problems, and I even chose that sickness in myself. So in the moment I understood that what game I was playing, because at the end it's the ego's always playing, and then I understood what game I have accepted. My life have shifted. I believe I did a quantum jumping in reality, because in one of my dreams before I got start getting better, my higher self told me, "Okay, you want to get better? Like, yes, please get me out of here." And she told me, "Okay." I was in my dream, remember? And she took me to a precipice where it was dark, dark in the bottom, and she told me, "Okay, jump." And my fears started showing up and telling me, "Well, I hear that if I die in my dream, I will not wake up." She told me, "Okay, you can go back to your bed and everything is going to be exactly how it was." And I was so tired. I opened my arms and jumped. After that, my life have not been the same in reality. But I came to understand what happened. What happened, I went through my darkest fears that I had of dying, of actually, and when I did that, what it was the worst fear that the majority of the human beings we have, it is dying. Well, I did it in a way. I killed the old Monica, the Monica that was a victim, the Monica that was feeling guilt and shame and blame and so forth. And then it came out in the other side, the Monica that actually wanted to live, the Monica that wanted to be survive and be healthy and be strong, and I can help others. And that's the Monica they convert. Now I can tell you, I am in love with life. I love
Mhm.
myself very much. And I don't take medications for right now. I have more than 6 years. I even forget to take my vitamins, to be honest.
Well, you
Very
seem
good.
to be doing well, and
Mhm.
let's be clear. When you say you haven't taken medications, it's not that uh, you're being prescribed the antidepressants and you're not taking them. It's that you no longer need the
Right.
medications.
I
Is
don't
that
need the
right?
medications, and I stopped going to the doctors about 6 years ago.
Right.
I can get
You
up from bed. I
evolved.
do not get swollen anymore.
Mhm.
I understand what it is depression now, and because I've been there, and I know I can control my emotions and my own thoughts, because I became the observer of me. And when I'm saying me, I'm talking about my thoughts and my emotions. So now I know how to shift it. And this is what I teach to my students, how they can shift their reality, they can shift their emotions and their thoughts so they can create actually the life they want.
Well, no one evolves from a place of comfort. You have to have a catalyst to go through that evolution and to, as you said, give birth to the new Monica
Yeah.
and give her the rite of passage and give her the right of way. And when I meet someone who is similar to where you were, I ask them, well, what about seeing it as an opportunity for love?
Mhm.
And there's so much of an opportunity for love today because there are so many people who have given up on it.
Mhm.
Yep. Because they don't think they're lovable, because they don't accept or know how to accept love or give love, because it's a program and very ancient that it might go to the great 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 grandparents that were started, and they don't felt that they deserve to be loved. So how they're gonna accept love? There is a big myth between couples that, oh, he needs to make me happy, or he makes me mad. In reality, we are giving that permission to other person. It is too much responsibility to carry for ourselves, or to give it to someone that they have to make you happy or they have to love you, when we have to start from ourselves, or else we're not going to even recognize it when we have love in front of us.
Everyone has to do their own work.
Hmm.
There's so much codependency today, and people get caught up in that, and that becomes their normalcy. And a lot of that is supported by institutions. You know,
Yes.
so yes, there are times when we do need support, and we do need assistance to help us move forward, but we have to co-create it.
Yes. That's the only way we. Those are the ones are called programs, the beliefs that can get us blocked precisely in whatever we want to change or shift. And one of the first questions that I ask to my clients is, what do you want? And the more funny part is they don't know it.
Mm.
They would tell you 20,000 things that they don't want, but to focus them, sometimes that's where I take more time, because the healing and the process, it goes faster if they already know. But
Mhm.
it takes me a long time just to focus them so they can say what they really want. And because they don't think they deserve it to start. People tends to say, I need a little house, a little car. When in reality they have 10 kids and I don't know, and dogs and cats, and they're not gonna fit in that little house or that little car, but they don't feel they deserve that big house or that big car that actually they need.
Well, that's the beauty of NLP, because Glenda does NLP as well, and I love the way you describe it as a direct rewiring of the motherboard,
Yes.
because one can get past the thought that keeps us where we are and the habituations that keep us where we are through modalities like NLP that totally bypass that whole conscious concept and go directly to the cortex.
I created a new system or a new modality, you wanna call it like that, that is in theta level. That it is a combination of different classes, and of course, I am always channeling, always. And I used to be Reiki master. I'm still Reiki master, but I don't practice in the normal way. But I do align the balance, the chakras, and so forth from the motherboard that is in our subconscious, because that's where you can create anything and reprogram anything from that point in reality. Even aligning, balance the chakras, removing entities, removing anything that you want, cutting contracts, vows, sexual energy, like the class that I told you I'm gonna have very soon, etc. Because that's where everything resides. It is in our subconscious. The part that are conscious, you can talk it in like an NLP practice, and you can shift the thoughts and but sometimes the people they have it ingrained in themselves deep inside that they don't remember where it started. And
Well,
for me, that is important to know where everything started, because that's the main problem.
please mention the class again.
Yes, the class is called Aligning Your Love Energy, and it's gonna be a ceremony for removing sexual energy
Mhm.
from past lovers, and also clearing family lineage, because I believe that's where a lot of the problems start. When from our family lineage, you
Mhm.
can see as many mothers. They've been. I have many clients that they have been. The grandmother was raped, the mother was raped, they were raped when they were kids, and then their sisters, and so on, so on, so. And you don't want to pass it on to your future children. But you
Yeah.
imagine the sexual energy they are carrying from all the ancestors that they were raped already.
Mhm.
And so
So when
in
you say energy, you mean traumatic energy.
no, I'm talking about energy. It is not only the trauma that is
Mhm.
there. I'm talking when you're having sexual intercourse with anyone, even with being that you want to,
Right,
you stay with that energy of that person.
right.
It's a very creative energy also if you want to manifest things. But imagine if you didn't want it.
Mhm.
So it stays as a trauma in your body, in your soul, and of course in your psyche.
But do you remove all of it, or do you just remove the negative part of it?
You remove all the sexual energy. It's your past lover. Why you want it?
Okay. Well, what if you have a lover who's still with you that's
Oh,
working?
have sex again.
Oh, so that brings that all back. Okay. You're taking notes, sweetheart.
but but now you will have but you will have conscience aware what you're doing now than before you didn't were aware what you were doing. We did not knew what we were doing in high school. Come on. And you're still carrying that
Right.
since high school
Well,
or
I'm glad
before
you
that.
explained that. Thank you, because you know it makes sense because we only have the present, really, and we may as well, if we can wipe that slate clean and not live in the past. Why not?
Yes, and we make contracts and vows, remember, all the time.
Right.
I'm gonna always love him. I'm always gonna be with him. There's not gonna be other man or woman in my life. That's a contract.
Yeah.
So, how do people sign up for this class? Where do they find it? Or how do they?
I can share the link, or I can share it later on, or
It should be able to, if you share it on the chat, should
okay.
go on there. I think you can.
Uh, no,
No, not letting you.
no.
Okay, so we could I'm sure you're going to have it on your website, the link, and your Facebook and all that.
Is it a fairly simple link? Can you just?
Or they can find me in my website. Oh, here,
Yeah, there you go.
got it. There.
There you go. All right.
And now it'll show magically up on the screen for everyone to see.
Thank you.
As fast as his fingers can type. Uh, but so, and you also have a book out.
Yes. My book is right now. It was in pre-sale right today. Actually, went into Amazon.
Oh,
It is called Transformation in Metamorphosis, and it is. I'm talking precisely how do I heal myself, how do I came out from the victimhood, how I start loving myself and letting go shame and blame, and so forth. Because I believe at this point in the evolution of the human beings, we already should be already been doing that so we can go to the next process of our evolution
So it's transformation and metamorphosis.
in metamorphosis. Yes.
okay. Very good. So, and congratulations then.
Yes.
That it went live today. Look at this. Wonderful. It's
Yes.
perfect. So,
What synchronicity?
yes.
Well,
Yes.
that explains why we didn't read it before the show.
Right.
But
I'll be looking
And
forward
that's
to seeing it.
the first book from a series of three. I created a program that is called Path to the Heart. That's a transformational system.
Mm-hmm.
But I now I started teaching channeling about before the pandemic in person,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I realized that many people were carrying fears and they don't believe in themselves. And how you're going to be teaching channeling if they're so afraid that they are going to channel a demon,
Mm-hmm.
or they are not believing in themselves when they are receiving the message from their higher self.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I went back and I created the first part is they need to believe in themselves. They need to work with their fears and they deserve it and so on. So the second level, I decided to do a soul retrieval and talk about family lineage, sexual energy, precisely what I'm gonna be teaching my second level,
Right.
and then and of course the chakras and so forth. And the third level is one of my favorites. That's where I navigate most of the time. That is channeling, and all the different kinds of channeling that exist. There is not only one. There are many. Of course, the light language that I am.
Mm-hmm.
I do practice light language. I do trans channeling.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I do art. Of course, that's another way of channeling. And I teach telepathy. I teach because that's one of the ways that they communicate with us
Mm-hmm.
without the distortions that comes from the human language. And what else? And it is actually where and that one I do certification in there
Right.
because
And
people
how do
need
people
for
reach you for that?
that one. You can find it also on Monica Ramirez, warrioroflove.com,
Okay.
my website.
Wonderful. And we'll try to get that up as well.
Yeah,
Um,
there you go.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I know you have the other two books to work on, correct?
I already teach the class, so in
Right,
a way, I already have those books started. I
Mm-hmm.
right.
just haven't finalized them and actually published them yet.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But you already have, you're already teaching the class, so you already know your outline, and of course you know your work, and I'm sure it'll become a process, of refinement, and you'll get them up in due time and due course. What do you see going forward?
Well, right now I'm doing a lot of public speaking. I just come back from LA. I've been in Harvard, in Miami, and I that's where I feel that that's the next step after writing a book because you can give more service to others because I came here to serve
Right.
and uh, and I believe you can give more to service to others when you're public speaking or you're podcasting or things like that. That's where many people, the human beings, we have changed. Before our attention span is have been reduced tremendously. That is only in video or in person that the people are going to put more attention than actually even reading a book. I wish it was like the old times that we used to read. I have a bunch of books, but
Mm-hmm.
many people are asking me for the audiobook.
Well, that might be fun if you or you have someone who could produce that. Uh, and what is your next speaking engagement? Do you have one scheduled?
Well, yes, it's going to be in July. It's going to be in Oxford.
Nice.
Yes.
And
And also, we're having a summit. And in this summit, where that Mariana, Lea, and myself we're starting to create, it is the Divine Feminine Symposium 2023. We just started to organize it. Glenda is going to be one of our speakers, and we're going to be, of course, speaking with amazing people there, amazing women and men. They're courageous.
mm-hmm.
But the one in July, is that open to the public?
Yes, Blue Talks is always open to the public. It's like the text talk, but for spiritual people. It's for
Okay.
business and life, but also spiritual.
Mm.
And how can someone get information on that if they might be interested in seeing you live?
Oh, usually and they can find it also in Monica Ramirez warriorlove.com or in my Facebook. That they can get it also in or they can send me an email or in my Facebook warrioroflove.com.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
And what is the subject in July?
I believe I've been talking about channeling in Miami. I talk about channeling. That's like I told you, is one of my favorite things to talk about it. But I the one in Los Angeles, I did it about believing in yourself and how to tame the ego.
Mm-mm.
And I believe it's gonna be that one again because I believe more people needs to hear that. So you,
Particularly in Los Angeles.
I live in Los Angeles for 1 year, and I agree with you, but I have seen that everywhere.
I wasn't there for a year. It didn't take me that long, but yeah, that's my take on it. But egos everywhere
Right.
could
That's
use
why I
pain.
say that.
Yes, but everywhere. There's there's a joke I posted recently. Uh, the superego and the ego walk into a bar, and the bartender says, "I'm going to have to see some id or ID," as we say in the bar.
Right.
But yeah, so it's all got to work together.
You know that the one that accepts believes it is the ego. It
Mhm.
is not the human.
Right.
Right. It's very true. Very true. So, you had two husbands.
Actually, four.
Congratulations. Did you finally learn? No. Anyway.
Hey, I've been single for 6 years. I think I did.
Don't
uh,
give her any ideas, okay? I'm very happy in my position.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's bottom, right? No. Oh, sorry. I give too much away.
so, um, and through those marriages, each one was worse with the abuse.
I believe it got better. Believe me, the one that used to beat me, it was my third husband,
Mm.
and I believe it got better in a way. And the last one, even it was bipolar. I cannot say bad things about him. We're still very good friends. There is a program that you have to hate your ex-husband. Well, this is not our case. And I work with my programs. Even if he doesn't work with the programs, we're very good friends. He did not mistreat me or treat me. The one that mistreated me was the one who was not bipolar. But we were not compatible, unfortunately. And after
Mm.
13 years, we decided to separate and divorce.
Okay.
Well, I don't speak badly about any of my ex-husbands, just for the record.
Well,
And I hope you don't have any.
Yeah. I'll never tell.
But yes, no, I just ask because I know that a lot of the times we go from one relationship and we only see the good that they're showing us at that moment and jump into the next, and we don't give ourselves enough time to breathe. Um,
I do agree with you, and then unfortunately, what I have seen and observed with myself and with my clients, it
right.
is the majority of the people they get with a mate because they feel afraid of being alone. They're
Mm-hmm.
too afraid to be with themselves, so they settle for whatever comes in front of them. When they even know they saw the red flags, but they
Mm-hmm.
cover their eyes because they were so afraid to be alone, and that's why I did it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
now that I like to be with me, I I haven't found anyone because I enjoy me.
Well, I think a lot of it too is back when marriage became a way to uh, solve people that were dependent upon other people. They created this institution where, okay, you're dependent on that person and you take care of each other, and that's, how we're going to hook you up and keep you out of the streets. But now people are evolving, and so that person who married that person then, they're no longer the same person. And yes, you sometimes become incompatible because you evolve, and you're not that person anymore.
I agree with you, but we go back to the story of the women. The women could not work. The women could
Right,
not have properties or even have a credit card. Don't forget about voting.
right.
We have evolved. So, and that's not this, but they still, there is a program that thank God many men are starting to work with about not learning to control or just telling them what to do with their lives or their thoughts or their emotions.
Right.
So in that moment, they're learning to respect each other. That's how we're evolving.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we're changing. I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be from the night to the day. I just hope my daughter have it easier.
Yes, and that's the thing is we hope that every generation that comes learns. Like I had one husband that would get drunk and try to beat me, and I made sure that my kids knew, my boys knew that that was not acceptable behavior, and my
Mhm.
daughter knew that that should never happen to her, and she should not do it either, because let's face it, there's also women that
Yeah,
get aggressive, and people don't see that, but
yeah.
um so I made sure that they understood that part, and hopefully, so far so good. uh all of them have learned and evolved and realized that the nope, okay, no, that type of behavior stops there, and it doesn't go further than that.
And going back to the original question about love or
Hmm.
unconditional love, people do not know what is unconditional love, the majority. Unconditional love, it is accepting a person as it is, not trying to change them or shift them or modify it so it can fit in my square or any
Hmm.
square.
Hmm.
When you asking someone, can you change for me? That is selfishness. So that's why we're still friends, my ex-husband and me, because I chose not to try to change him because that's not who he is. And I have to teach him that he could not change me.
Right. And
But
that
that's
was
what
probably harder, actually.
But it also goes to control being an illusion. There is no control. Control is something that can manifest in the physical plane. It really doesn't have a lot of staying power because it's dependent upon so many other things to maintain that energy. And it doesn't really create energy, it just sucks energy. So, you know, people have to understand that the illusion of control is not a healthy illusion.
whatever you're trying to control, you're going to be controlled by it.
Exactly.
Mhm.
First of all, and unfortunately, they've been forced. We have slaves in history, that
Mhm.
we were controlling them in a way. Even if, oh, thank God, we are not living in that time. Well, we still see it with many people that are employed, with many people that are hungry, or they're in fear, or battered women. The battered women syndrome is very, very real. Yes,
Mhm.
it was used. I stayed 5 years in a relationship because he threatened me that he was gonna kill me until I got tired of living in that fear. Well, we know what happens with me when I get tired of that. It's like, okay, kill me. Of course, you can kill me, and that's how I acquire my freedom.
But I'm not saying that battered woman syndrome isn't real, but battered woman syndrome is fear, not control. The control aspect of it is dependent upon the fear. And the fear takes a tremendous amount of energy to maintain.
Yeah.
So once things shift and people are able to find their way out of it, all of the control is lost. But it takes tremendous courage to find your way out of it because that becomes your reality.
It's not gonna be easy for whoever is hearing this to get out of a relationship like that because you're gonna be in fear.
Mm-hmm.
But once you overcome the fear, there's always help. Uh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not I'm not talking only about the guides or the entourage that everybody have. I'm
Right.
talking about human beings and people that can help you. And because you're gonna need to affront your biggest fear, that is to survive and being alive and be well and be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
people have to understand that that is a birthright
Yes.
and you have to claim it,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
or you're basically going to wind up reliving everything in your next life.
Yes. And who knows how many times we already lived that.
Right.
Exactly.
I
Yes.
don't know about anybody else, but I'm good. That's okay.
And that's where the past life regressions come in, because once you
Right.
begin to understand how deeply rooted that trauma is,
Right.
you can begin to do the work and have the courage to move past it.
Mhm.
Right now, many people are still afraid that they're channelers or healers or psychics. They're still afraid to actually speak out loud because of the fear when they were burned in a past life. I still
Mhm.
remember two of my past lives when I got burned, and but at least I overcome that.
Right.
But many people that they're seeing things, observing things, and hearing things, they're too afraid to say it out loud because of that trauma. It's a big trauma. You're being burned.
Mhm. Mhm. And remembering, I remember a few of mine, and it's like, oh, okay. I'm glad I'm not living those times anymore.
Oh gosh, yes,
Yes, it's very interesting, and like the last lifetime, I was burned, and I decided to come into this one. I wasn't even supposed to come into this one. I pushed people out of the way. I'm going in. I need to finish what I started, and it was more like, oh no. As I am burning, I'm like, I'm coming back because I got to finish. I cannot be stopped with this fear, and I cannot be stopped by what you're doing.
yes,
And of course, every once in a while I do say, wait until I get up there. I think I'm going to beat myself up a little. Uh,
Well, wait till you're up there, because if you do it down here, there's all sorts of other things that have to happen.
One time I was thinking, like, I'm not coming back. I was mad. I was like, I'm not coming back in my next life. And that's when I remember why exactly the emotion, why I came back the first to this timeline at least.
right.
And it was love.
Hmm.
Again, love is the one that brought me here. So I learned when I remember that part, I remember like I should not say I would never come back because maybe I will come back again for love.
Right. Right. It is. And it's a very deep energy that once you find it and once you harvest it and you uh, just channel it out, everybody around you will
Yeah.
feel it. And you don't, it isn't like you even have to say anything, but people will actually feel it and know and see it in you and see the bright light
Yeah.
as you're coming into a place or going somewhere. So it's very powerful in many, many, many different ways. I'm
Yes.
glad that you're doing this, and You're really taking initiative in taking these tools that you've learned and teaching others, and hopefully they will then, by healing themselves, heal others around them too.
I believe the people that we're going to be able to help are the people that exactly where is our old selves.
Mm,
So I believe that everything that I have learned in my past, that it was not easy, not painful. And then you just look back and it's like, oh my God, I have lived all that. How I have lived all that. But I know that I have lived all that because I wanted to help people exactly where I was before.
mm,
And that's the people we're going to be attracting at the same time
right.
because we can help them easier.
Because we've experienced this, so we know where they're coming from.
Yes.
Oh, yes, yes. Um, Now, so what else is coming up for you?
Well, I believe that also it is very important for part of the evolution of the human beings. It is about channeling because everybody do it, like I mentioned earlier. But the thing is, everybody's many people are so afraid actually to do it. They think that the safe part is only angels, and that's it. And they will say, "Oh, I guess I am a therapist of angels." But to start, the angels are not human, first of all, and they're not God. They're light beings,
Right.
yes, but the same as the many Pleiadians, the same as many ascended masters, the same of many ETs.
Mhm.
I am being an adoptee too. So
Okay.
I know that energy. And
Mhm.
more that we understand that not because they're different than humans and doesn't have wings, they're dangerous or scary.
Right.
I do paint many of my guides that are blue or they have different forms that doesn't look too humanistic sometimes or too human. Let's put it like that. And but that doesn't mean the energy is wrong. We always have to look into ourselves, how it feels, what are you channeling, and that's our compass, our heart.
Mm-hmm. And where could people see your art?
Oh, and Facebook is the Monica Ramirez art,
Okay.
or in my page also the Monica Ramirez warrioroflove.com.
Okay.
They can see my art.
All right. There you go.
It's good.
So, so yes, because um, we everybody looks at the same art piece, and everybody feels differently. And that's
Yes,
why I love going to museums and art galleries and all that, because you could look at something and you're like, I don't get it. And then somebody else could come and, oh, I see this and I see that and I feel this. And I'm like, okay. But, each person is very different. So maybe somebody, once they see your art, can receive even healing through there.
yes.
So,
I remember when I started painting when I was 6, I started exhibiting when I was 13. And the thing is, I used to explain my art, but I stopped. Why?
mhm,
Because exactly what you said. The message, how someone is going to receive it, it may be very different than how I express it.
right.
So I'm limiting them, telling them what to think when they see any painting. It doesn't have to be mine or anyone else. So I stopped doing that. And I do paint with a lot of symbolism, so it can go to the system operative system, not necessarily for our conscious mind to actually understand it. I do like language, but hiding in a way, and sometimes it's very visible.
Mm-hmm.
But so like that, at least the higher self or the psychics or the subconscious can detect that one.
Exactly, exactly. And that's one of the things I wanted to bring out, because everybody says, oh, another another person who paints. Okay, so but they don't understand that each person channels that art very differently, and
Yes,
each person that sees that art channels that energy very different.
Yes.
Um, that's
As
the good thing about it.
as an artist, we have sometimes art exhibits like the one we're going to have one in 2024 in Los Angeles, where it is going to be the name is Sabor a Mi, flavor of me, and
Mhm,
that's from a Mexican song, a love song actually, Sabor
mhm,
a Mi, and that's the theme for the four artists that we're going to participate, and
yeah.
not necessarily because we have the name. That means that we're all going to paint the same. Each one of us, we're going to create something that it is with that love to us or to whatever message that we want to give, just using that name and let your creativity goes.
Mhm,
So it doesn't matter how many Mona Lisas we give the name Mona Lisa, and each one of us we're going to paint it different.
mhm.
It's never going to be the same.
Very true.
Well, each one of us brings something different to the party, so it's not supposed to be the same. And
Yes.
people that sit there in judgment, they're projecting.
Hmm.
They're
Yes.
not looking at it for what it is. They're looking at it for what they expect it to be.
Yes.
And there's their opportunity to get out of that.
Mhm,
That's where the people gets a lot of competition because everybody has to be in a little square and everybody has to fit in a little square. And those are the people that are having a hardest time because when they find the uniqueness in them,
mhm.
then they can see the uniqueness in every single body and they will not try to control it. They will respect that uniqueness in each one of us because just trying to copy someone, it
Mm.
is not fun because you're not going to do it exactly as the other person.
No. Mm-mm. And you're also not going to bring the same energy
Yes.
because if you're trying to copy somebody, you're trying to bring their energy, not yours, and
Yes.
yours could be totally different and heal others in a different way. So it's you know,
Yes.
so it's wonderful, wonderful to see different art, and I love it when you have. Um, Even in well virtual shows that we've been having up to now, where you had a few artists and they're all painting this one thing, and you could see their interpretation is
Mhm.
so different. And by seeing that, you realize that each one of them is channeling a little bit different.
We channel different beings, or we can channel the same being. That's something that many people don't understand. Like I explain, okay, do you think Archangel Michael only talks to me but will not talk to anyone else? That's ridiculous. They are multidimensional beings, but they can be giving us different messages
Right.
to different people at the same time. That's why they're multidimensional. Oh,
Mm.
like someone told me the other day, quantum dimensional or something like that, because there was more. It can be different dimensions. It can
Right.
be in different places and different times and different everything. So they can be all that because that's who we are too.
Right. Mm.
What
And
we just forgot.
Mm.
and as people go through their evolution, they can learn how to function on those different dimensions and open themselves up to that and to the channeling and to the love, and that will help them out of where they are and where they're programmed.
Mhm.
But for doing that, they need to believe in themselves.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, we have about 5 minutes left. And is there anything we haven't touched on that you want to, or something that you want to come back to?
Well, I would like to come back about the ceremony of the sexual energy
Yes.
that I'm going to be having. And because many people have asked me about what it is, the sexual energy. And not only that we get attached every time we have a relationship with someone,
Mhm.
that we start carrying in our body. And it actually, it makes us continue being attached to that person, even if that was 25 years ago and we have not seen that person. But we still imagining how it will be. And that person in the other side is thinking the same. So both of them are gonna still attach. And guess what? Imagine if they're already married and
Mhm.
they still thinking, how about if I still be with the other person? It will be better. No, it will not be. Because we were different beings now than we were when we were in high school. Let's put it like that.
Mhm.
But those are contracts that we did, energetically contracts. That's one way, that's the negative side. And the positive side, that how we can use the sexual energy, it is to create, because in the moment of the orgasm, that's when actually we are connected to exactly to the divine source.
Mhm.
And that's when we can create. Just imagine that how you can, what do you want in that moment of the orgasm, so you can manifest it faster.
Mhm.
So, how do people sign up for that?
I believe is here in the private chat. And so you have it there. There.
There you go.
And it's, I decided to charge $33 for that one because it's a ceremony. It's pretty cheap. And the people that have signed up for my love challenge for the month of February, that is free, they will get the 50% discount, because people need to learn how to love themselves or remember how to love
So
themselves.
I get 50% off. You're gonna be like, okay, what day is it? Okay.
February 16.
Perfect, perfect, because it's right after Valentine's. Where this way, we it's a
Or
clean
you
slate.
or you start a new relationship and you
Yeah,
better get rid of the last relationship.
right.
Oh. Yeah.
Yes, let's oh, somebody asked me for a date on Valentine's Day. I better get rid of that other stuff. Delete their number, block them.
And break the contract if you don't need it anymore.
Exactly, exactly. Oh, it's been a really fun time, enjoyable time having you here. We It's beautiful to see a different side, because everybody takes, the same concept and just turns it around, but you do everything with love as the center of it. And I think that is very inspiring. So thank you. Um, Please come back, and another time. So whenever you have any,
Perhaps after that conference that you do with Glenda and the other women, and
yeah,
you know,
I would
we
love
can
that.
revisit things and see how other things are progressing.
right.
And
And it,
uh,
it yeah.
talk about
So
Glenda in my podcast, we'll talk.
sure. And so thank you. And for next week, there we go. And for next week, we have Nicole Richmond, who is an attorney in Ontario, Canada, and she works. Well, she is a Native Nation, and she works specifically with them, and brings all her spirituality with her to tell us all about it.
So
So
she's First Nations.
she's First Nations, yes,
Wonderful.
yes. So it's a wonderful thing, and it's wonderful to see the growth in that. So, well, thank you, Monica. We love you. Thank you for everything.
As far
And
as I'm concerned, you're the best thing in Texas. I've been to Texas, and believe me, I was looking.
I know what you mean. I know what you
Thank
mean.
you.
That's why I went to New York in December.
There you go. Well, if you come back up here, you have to let us know because we'll have to get together.
yes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. God bless everyone. We love you all.